There are Christians who seem strange to almost everyone around them. Without realizing it, you might be one of them, called extreme, antisocial, boring, or too religious. They quietly accept these labels. But what if this strange behavior is actually spiritually mature? Today, we explore 10 behaviors the world calls weakness, but are actually discernment. 1. Christians who don't have many friends. Many see this as a contradiction. If Christianity is about love, shouldn't they be close to everyone? These Christians are not cold or arrogant, but have learned something important about relationships. Not every friendship builds you up, and not every social circle adds to where God is taking you. They are quiet and content, not needing a crowd to feel complete. People around them misread it, assuming something is wrong. But something is actually very right. Psalm 1:1 speaks of not walking in the counsel of the wicked. This is not isolation, but discernment. It is guarding the heart. 2. Christians who don't enjoy parties are often misunderstood. In a culture where not going out makes you boring or overly religious, people judge quickly. Most people miss that they know how to have fun.
Something shifted inside them, making once normal environments deeply uncomfortable.
Many go to gatherings, forcing smiles, and leave feeling drained. This isn't judging, but recognizing that place no longer connects with who they are. 1 Corinthians 10:23 says, "Not everything is beneficial, and not everything is constructive." Some environments are filled with empty conversation and things that work against spiritual life. Some Christians make a quiet decision not to participate, not out of fear, but conviction. 3. Christians who don't help everyone are often misunderstood. This sounds wrong. Isn't Christianity built on love and service? How can one choose not to help? Most people don't discuss that helping also requires discernment. I've seen Christians say yes to everything, always available, giving until nothing was left. They ended up used, exhausted, and dragged into situations never theirs to carry. 2 Thessalonians 3 verse 10 says, "If anyone is unwilling to work, let him not eat." Matthew 10:14 records Jesus telling disciples to shake dust off their feet and move on. Some reject help, or repeatedly seek it, continuing the same cycle. Sometimes, helping only funds the problem. Stepping back is not lack of love. Real help isn't always giving. Sometimes it is knowing when to stop. 4. Christians who don't frequently receive visitors. They are very intentional about who they invite into their home and how often. In a culture associating Christian living with open doors, this looks cold. For many believers, the home is not just a physical place. It is a spiritual one. They keep their home peaceful, calm, and in order. They guard it carefully because not everyone contributes to that atmosphere. When someone walks through your door, They bring more than themselves. They bring their way of speaking, the weight they carry, and the atmosphere they leave behind. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Their home is an extension of that, and their peace is too valuable to leave unguarded. 5. Christians who love being at home. We live in a generation that treats stillness like a problem to be solved. If you're not constantly going out, traveling, or posting, society implies something is wrong. But some Christians have genuinely learned to enjoy being still. They do not feel the need to constantly move or fill every empty hour just to feel alive. They find real satisfaction in the simple things: their home, their space, their quiet. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." This is an invitation to a different way of living, developing a stronger, more stable inner life. They are not constantly pulled in 10 directions, finding peace that doesn't depend on noise.
6. Christians who don't use social media.
For this generation, choosing not to use social media feels almost radical. If you're not posting or online, many feel you simply do not exist. But some have made a quiet decision to opt out, or at least limit their exposure. Not because they are disconnected or outdated, but because they choose to protect their mind. Social media, at its worst, brings comparison, envy, empty content, and wasted time. It's constant noise, slowly entering without most people even noticing the effect.
Philippians 4:8 says, "Think about whatever is true, pure, and praiseworthy."
Not everything on a social media feed aligns with that. Stepping away brings clarity and peace. 7. Christians who don't follow trends. In a generation where everything is measured by what's trending, not caring about trends stands out. If it's viral, everyone wants to be part of it. But some genuinely do not feel that pull. They are not tracking what's popular, nor adjusting themselves to fit current demands. That makes them look strange, but behind it is a conviction. Their identity doesn't come from what's trending, but from something that does not change. This stability, even if uncomfortable for others, shows someone who knows exactly who they are. 8. Christians who enjoy being alone. Solitude makes most people nervous. Our culture associates being alone with sadness or emptiness. But some have learned something rare: how to be alone without being lonely. They do not need to be surrounded by people at all times to feel complete. In a world addicted to attention and distraction, this genuinely seems strange.
While others fill quiet moments with noise, these people sit in silence, reflect, and pray.
Jesus himself regularly withdrew from crowds to be alone with the Father. He understood the value of those moments. Psalm 62:1 says, "Truly my soul finds rest in God." That kind of rest is most often found in solitude, developing a stronger, more stable inner life. 9. Christians who distance themselves from family. This one is hardest to talk about, because family is supposed to be untouchable. The Bible speaks of honoring parents, love, and unity, but not every family relationship builds you up. I've seen cases where the family itself became the greatest obstacle to someone's faith. There was constant mockery of their beliefs and ongoing pressure to return to old habits. A toxic environment quietly worked against everything God was doing in that person's life. In those situations, some Christians make the painful decision to create distance. Not because they stopped loving, but because they understood they could not grow in that environment. Jesus addressed this directly in Matthew 10:34-36. He said his message would bring division.
10. Christians who don't celebrate everything. Ah! No thank you.
We live in a world where every occasion is a reason to celebrate. There are healthy celebrations, family moments, special occasions, and joy shared with loved ones.
None of that is wrong.
But there are other kinds of celebrations, ones filled with excess and pressure, with environments that quietly work against everything a person believes. Some Christians simply choose not to participate. They've learned to discern what actually benefits them and what does not. Ephesians 5:11 says, "Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness." Knowing the difference is not extreme religiosity. It is maturity. These are the people God uses most. Share this with someone who needs to hear their strange behavior is a strength.